Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Comfort Tunde, and I want to welcome you to today's workshop. I'm super excited about what we're about to experience today. Um, all of our speakers are ready, and I can't wait for us to have them right here to share the slides and also answer all the questions that we have. We got all the questions that you left in the form, and definitely I would be asking those questions while we have our speakers undo them. So to start, okay, we have Linda here already. So I'm going to add her to the stage soon so that she can start, enlightening us, giving us all of our insights as well. So before we get into that, I'm going to do a quick overview of what the workshop is all about. So um, majorly, while we decided to use this topic, strategic brand building, basically crafting your identity and connecting with your audience, is generally because we know that StratPal generally is our core focus is to help SMEs and startup drive efficiency, drive operational efficiency, drive client acquisitions, and help them drive growth, majorly sustainability with their brand. And when it comes to startups, we don't have a lot of fun. And then our people don't understand the importance of branding generally. And branding is something that cuts across even your sales strategy, your marketing strategy, even your business strategy. So if you're a startup founder or an SME business owner, if you're starting up your business, there are some things that you need to consider, and that is basically your brand. So and today we'll be having people with sharing who are very, very experienced, who have done this. They're founders, they founded companies, they've helped companies drive growth, leveraging their expertise. They'll be providing us with amazing insights on how we can and how SMEs and startups can drive growth, leveraging their brand, how they can connect with their audience, as well as how they can craft the right identity for their brand. Because basically, like I'm sure you must have heard something like you say, yeah, customer perception. So it's all about how people see your brand, how people perceive your brand, how your brand make people feel. Generally, that's what helps you even drive sales. It's not about the marketing strategy that you come up with. It's about how people see your brand or how you make them feel generally. So without further ado, I'm just going to do a little quick about introduction about our speaker. So we just want to jump right in because I want us to get all the insights that we need. So there are a lot of other things I meant to have said before I have the speakers up, but I don't want to waste so much time. I just want us to get right in. So our first speaker for today is Linda Oshugwa, and she is the digital sales manager at Business Day. Linda is a seasoned marketing and sales professional with over 13 years of work experience. She started a marketing career in 2008 in Reading Oil and Gas, where she worked for a few years before proceeding to the United Kingdom, where she embarked a first-class honors from the prestigious University of Surrey with a master's degree in management. She recently got an entrepreneurship certificate from Harvard Business School. She is also an alumni of the prestigious Lagos Business School. After her studies, Linda worked a few years in Iraq Limited, where she rose to becoming a team lead. On returning to Nigeria, she joined one of the leading not the leading media house, Business Day Media Limited, where she works as digital sales media. So Linda joined Business Day in 2012 and led the strategic digital transformation of the advert department, leading to increased revenue success for the company. Linda is an avid panel speaker, having spoken at notable conferences like Social Media Week and other conferences worldwide. She loves to watch movies and reviews movies weekly across various platforms. She anchors an IG Live series, The African SME Story. She anchors a podcast weekly, Growing Your Business with Linda, on our platforms and on Africa Business Radio. Linda is also the anchor of a new show she is working on called Linda's Nuggets, where she reviews books, lives, and business tips. For me, I've listened, I've listened in on the podcast that Linda does, growing your business. And if you're a business owner, you need to open this podcast. You need to open this podcast. If you're not following Linda on LinkedIn, please do that. She shares a lot of insights, and she also shares every single work, all the podcasts that she's anchoring. You really need to learn from it. If you're a startup, you want to learn the sales strategy to adopt, the marketing strategy to adopt for your growth, the business strategy to adopt, how to scale. You need to be on Linda's podcast. So let's give it up to Linda as she takes over the stage now. Thank you very much, Linda, for being with us today.
Okay, thank you so much for having me, Comfort. I don't know if they can hear me. If you can hear me, just quickly say hi, Linda, so that I know that you hear me clearly. It's such a pleasure and an honor to be here. Comfort, you're always like hyping my market more than my market, but it's good to have people hype you. Sometimes when I hear people read my profile, I'm always like, "Ah, is this me?" But then it's me. Nice to meet everyone. My name is Linda. As Comfort has said, I will save you the stress of boring you with all the details she has mentioned. But there are just a few things that I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about whatever you're doing. You have to do it so well that the world will notice that you're doing it. That's one. Number two, I'm extremely very passionate about helping small businesses. Like I sleep, dine, dream small businesses. How can they just be better? And it doesn't have to be extremely out of the world. It just has to be simple things. I try to make things very simple. I tell people life shouldn't be this complicated. It's already hard on its own, so don't make it even harder. And I always strongly feel like every day that you wake up, you need to ask yourself, what am I learning today? And how am I going to make a positive impact? If you have some of these driving forces at the back of your mind, I'm very sure that you're going to do well. But I would like to just dive in quickly. According to the timetable and schedule that Comfort has given me, my time starts now at 4:09. I'm supposed to talk for about 10-15 minutes if she allows me, just talking about crafting your identity and connecting with your audience. I wanted to have a presentation that just allows me to highlight some points about how you, whether you're an individual or you're a business, can help craft your identity. You know, and people make this look very complex. I want to make it really look as simple as possible. What's your identity? Now, your identity will simply mean, how do you want people to know you? What do you want them to know you for? There are some people on Instagram, you know them because of some particular kind of dresses and things they wear. There are some people on Instagram, you know them because of the kind of hair they always make. It could be Ghana weaving or braids, and they've made that their signature or their style, and you know them. There are some people, for instance, let's use your present president. He has a signature cap that you wear. Once you see that cap, you know that Tinubu is coming. For Adebola Williams, you see him on his white native 247 and his red cap bent to the same side forever. That's his signature. So identity could be anything. It could be your style, your brand. And I want us to look at things today, right? So I want us to just concentrate around two sides. So we're looking at two different sets of people. People who own businesses and people who are running the businesses. And how do you align that you kind of match with what you say you do? So for instance, you see that some people, when they tell you that they are the MD CEO of a particular brand you know so well, it doesn't add up. You are wondering, how can you be the owner of this brand? Something is wrong. There's a misfit. So some brands, you have that the brands are doing much, much more better than the owners. Something is wrong. And for some people, you have that the individual is more popular than the brand. So the person is saying, oh, I'm the MD CEO, everybody knows him, but they don't know his company. So you must learn to see how to make sure that they are both growing at per, and that's really very important. So we look at introduction, we look at defining brand, looking at purpose, value, your brand identity, connecting with your audience, crafting your message, brand sustainability, and conclusion. Let's move to the next slide. So I want us to use simple examples that really make us understand what this thing is, right? So I know that a lot of us here already know Sabinus. And we know that Sabinus' signature is that he dresses in a very funny way. Shirt looking big, not talking properly, dead shoes, dead trouser. But even if you see him anywhere, you know this is Sabino's what? He has created an identity for himself. Now, in the business space that we live in, now the way you brand your business is what will help you keep you thriving and succeeding in that business. Your brand is what earns trust, loyalty, and customer audience. So sometimes some people say, oh, Linda, I want to talk about my brand. I'm wondering, people are not going to buy from you if they don't know you. And this is a process, right? We have to know you, we have to trust you, and then I have to buy. Especially when it has to do with the amount of money. So for instance, if I tell you come and buy something from me worth 2,000 naira, depending on your level, you're not going to feel bad. If I run away, there's no problem. But if I come and tell you, hey, Comfort, come and buy a house for me worth 150 million naira, you say, hold up, who are you? Where are you coming from? What's your business history? You have to do some checks. So that's the thing about brand. You have to build trust, you have to build loyalty, and then your customers begin to see that it's easy to do business with you. Now, to put it simply, branding is about relatability. Let's make things, how can people relate with you? What is your style? How would your audience know that this is your brand? Let's say, for instance, for those of you who drink Coke and Pepsi, the bottles are different, their logos, their branding. If some of these companies tell you how much they pay for logos, you will be shocked at how much they pay into details, even to the dot and to the slash. Now, you have to understand that for most people, they don't even know the difference between Coke and Pepsi. If you put it in a cup, they don't know. But the difference in these two brands is in the bottle and in the shape and in how they preserve their brand identity. For me, if I close my eyes and you give me Coke, I know different Coke and Pepsi, but I've tried to stop drinking Coke and Pepsi. But you need to understand that how you brand yourself, the message, the color determines how people are going to work with you. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, so I wanted us to understand that your branding also determines how much you are going to price your products. And we can see that in so many different things. You can see a shirt that is done by a normal fashion designer in Nigeria and the same shirt done by a designer. They could sell the shirt in Nigeria for maybe 10, 20K, and that same shirt can go as much as $1,500. What's the difference? It's still a shirt. But it's not just about the shirt, it's about the packaging, the branding, and how it makes you feel. These are the things that differentiate you as an individual and also you as a business from your competitors. So for instance, we know backgrounds of websites are always white and black, and then you can buy a wristwatch from Amazon for like $20, and then you go to the Christian Dior website and that same wristwatch could be as high as $35,000, and you're asking yourself why. It's called branding. So how well you package and brand yourself determines how much you'll be paid. And this could apply to anyone, whether you are a normal person looking for a job or you are a business. So for instance, now, when some people come in for interviews to like they're applying for a job, you will see that two people who are probably have the same experience, the same age, the same number, maybe education level background, but one person will price himself at 2.5 million and the same person at that same level will price himself at 600. You will even hear some people say, anything you people have, you can pay me. And I'm like, really? You don't know what you are worth? That's a disaster. You must be able to brand yourself in such a way that when you are saying how much you want to be paid, you are giving us reasons why they should pay you that. I have done this, I have done that, I achieved this, I'm very good with this, I know what I'm talking about, I have experience, I have my network, I have my sales team, I know how to do this. In that way, we say, okay, we're paying this person this much because of so, and so. And that's why you see sometimes some people come into the same job at the same level. One person is paid higher because that person brought so much value to the table. And you say, this is what I can do. And this other person says, anything you give me to do, I will do. That's called branding. Now, you can see that we have Zobo, right? Let me use Zobo. I want to use something relatable. So you have Zobo that they just put in one dead container and cover it 100 naira. And then you have somebody who has a fantastic bottle packaging. She's selling the same Zobo, just that she has packaged it with label and name with NAFDAC. She's selling her own 3,000 naira. If you don't want to leave it, it's not by force. It's called branding. So I went for an event yesterday and they were like selling this very nice bole roasted yam with one small fish in a plastic bowl, and they said it was 3K. And if you see the queue and everybody fighting, I asked myself, seriously, if I want to buy bole on the street, how much is this bole? 250, 300, 400, 500. If I want to buy roasted yam, how much is even the tuber of yam safe? Anyway, don't mind me for those that cook. And that's okay. How much is the stew on top? And how much is the fish? But that's her packaging. Well packaged, well dressed, everything arranged. Oh, nice bole. People were buying and paying for it because it was arranged well, nice plates. It's called branding. Next slide. If you are going to do anything well, what differentiates one brand from another is the packaging. Now, for us to define your brand purpose, you need to understand that you need to know, and it will be different from everyone. What's your purpose? What's your value? What's your mission? What's your goal? What do you want to achieve with this product? You see some companies saying, oh, we want to recycle products and we want to save the environment because we believe in sustainability. That's their goal, that's their vision, and that's driving their purpose. Now they are getting grants from different organizations around the world because they are in line with the SDG rules and the new policies that are being made. You need to think about that very well. Next slide. Now, we want to look at defining this brand, right? So there are key questions that you need to look at when you're defining your brand. So number one, you need to look at what do you believe in? Number two, what do you stand for? Number three, what do you care about? Number four, what are your non-negotiables? And of course, the ones that you want to negotiate. What are you going to compromise? You know, some people compromise some things. Some people, so I tell people, I say, if I'm going to a restaurant, please, if you are charging high, charge high. But please give me the same quality. Don't touch the quality. You can reduce the quantity, but for me, it is in the taste. So some people, they've increased the price, they've reduced the quality, reduce the quantity, reduce every single thing around it, and they still expect you to pay so high for it. That's what I'm paying. So you need to decide for yourself as your brand, what do you want to negotiate with? What do you want to put or not? What is the, oh yes, we stand with this, and no, we're not going to do this. If you can answer these simple questions, then you're on a way to really putting things right. Next slide. I want us to look at mission, right? So as a brand or as an individual, you need to always define your business purpose and how it aligns to the greater good of whether it's the environment or people or your customers. Now, you need to think about what you want your business to be known for. Are we caring for the environment, for people? Are we for cheap products? Are we for quality, for luxury? Choose a stand. So I tell people, when I ask them, I say, what exactly do you stand for? Which kind of, okay, so for instance, you sell perfumes. Which kind of perfumes do you sell? Any perfume, anything nice. That's a problem. If you're selling perfume, choose a stand. We're selling cheap and cheerful perfumes for cheap people. And of course, you will sell. There are many in Nigeria. We're selling A-class luxury perfumes. You know that you only have very few people that can afford to buy a perfume for 100,000 naira. So you need to decide what exactly do you stand for. If you stand for sustainability, if you stand for quality, if you stand for luxury, if you stand for cheapness, then a name for themselves. Find out what others have done. How do you manage this? How do you work around it? What do you do to make it better? If you can clarify these things, then you are clear about your brand mission. Next slide. Okay, so when you decide that you're going to have a purpose, a vision, a mission for your business as an individual person, you need to then align, break them down and make it clear. Write it. So in the next 1 to 3 months, these are the short-term goals we're going to achieve as a brand. In the next 3 to 6 months, these are the short-term goals we're going to achieve as a brand. In the next 12 months, this is what we're going to achieve. How do we want to achieve it? We want to have emailing lists. We want to have a group of people. We want to make people know us on social media. We want to make people know us through events. Decide how you are going to go about it and what you're going to do about it to differentiate yourself from the market. This is really very key. Next slide. Now, I want to talk about the fact that whatever it is that you are doing, you have to do it well and consistently. So let me explain. For instance, now she mentioned that I review movies, and people always try to look for things that they don't have a passion for and they are not happy about, but they're just looking for money. You're not going to survive there. I started reviewing movies like 7, 8 years ago, or even 9. And why? I thought to myself, I love watching movies and I love watching very good movies. And I know the hassle it takes for you to choose a very good movie. So rather than just watch and waste time, let me watch and then review and then advise people what to watch so that they don't go through the same struggle that I have gone through. So if I watch it and it's good, I tell you so you can decide. Then there was no Netflix and Amazon. It was just cinema movies, really. And there wasn't even movies on YouTube. This was like 10 years ago. It wasn't a lot. So a lot of people will call and say, Linda, how far? I'm going to the cinema. What do I watch? I'm like, depends on you. What kind of person are you? Do you like horror movies? I don't watch horror movies, so I can't tell you about horror movies. I love action movies. God, it makes me excited. For a lady, they also know how I love action movies, science fiction movies, war movies. That's my forte. Just ask me, and I'm hyper. I don't like romantic movies, except I'm frustrated and there's no option in life, and maybe. So I will tell you my options. I will tell you why, and I will give you reasons why this movie makes sense on the basis of your kind of preference, the kind of people that will watch it, what they were trying to pass on, the message and all that. and I will make sure that it's clear so that you can work. So from a passion that I have, I created something for me and say, you know what, let's write reviews and just help people make better decisions. Now it's even worse because when you go to Netflix, they're like 150,000 movies, and ask yourself which one will I watch. It's even more difficult. You're not sure if it's action or science or series. If there's someone to advise you, just saves you the time. You already know, oh, I'm going to watch this movie. Now, I explained something about understanding your audience. Everybody's very different and you cannot serve everybody. As a brand, you need to understand yourself, your product, and who you want to serve. If you can get that clearly, then you know that you are not for everyone. If you're a luxury brand, for instance, you cannot have 55 billion customers like that, because your customers are few. They are a niche market. They're not even coming on social media to come and like or not like. They already know your product. They know where to find you and they will buy. High class people. Now, if you're selling a very cheap product, for instance, not to spite Zobo, but let me use Zobo again for example. There's really nothing in comparison to Zobo. Zobo is Zobo anywhere, any day, anytime. So if you want to buy Zobo, you are just being careful to say, I want to check for the kind of Zobo I'm drinking so that I do not have running stomach and I don't go and start going to the hospital with my own money. So I'm trying to look for a brand that has been there, they do it well, package it well, and of course, maybe have that number because you just want to protect your health. But on a good day, before, anywhere you see Zobo, you buy. You don't even care if they use clean water. You don't even care. So it depends on your level. As you begin to grow, you begin to see, oh, I don't want this brand. I want to be with this. I want to wear this wristwatch. It just changes. So know your audience. Next slide. I want to look at your value proposition. So one other very big thing about you branding is the value. What do you bring to the table? Someone says, I'm the table myself. Brilliant. But whatever it is that you're selling, if it, for instance, you are a bedsheet company, you have to explain to us what makes you this beautiful, luxurious bedsheet company. It's silk, the weather, Nigeria, so we create something good for the heat. You don't sweat in the night. Our brands and cotton are really good and pricey, but they're original, they're affordable, they last, they don't break, they don't tear, they don't rust, they don't spoil. So you explain to us what makes you different. And then you tell us how you do it. And then you tell us how you create value for your customers. Next slide. So I want us to also look at some key things, and I will run through because I have less than 5 minutes left. So what makes a brand identity? You need to look at the name, look at the logo, tagline, the brand voice, personality, and visuals. And I would like to just, next slide, I would like to use an example of a person to explain this, right? So for companies, you have to be very particular about your logo. How unique is it? Timelines, the words you're using for tagging on social media. How are you doing that? The visuals for your brand, the picture quality, video. How are they? And then also the brand voice for you. Everybody know that Sabinus is just playful. There's nothing professional about him, but everybody knows that Tony Elumelu is formal and professional to the core. When you see some certain people, you already know the kind of confidence that they stand for and what they are. They don't need to tell you. I tell you, I say if you need to be explaining yourself to me, then you don't have a brand. But if you have a brand which you have grown consistently for 5 to 10 years, when you walk in, I already know. I know what you stand for. I know who you are, and I already see that you've done some work. Now, for instance, also as an individual, you meet different people and you already create some perception about who they are. You must be very careful to understand the kind of perception you want people to think that you are, especially either as a brand or as an individual. So sometimes for me, I know that it might be difficult. You can imagine taking 100 or 200 calls in a day, customers, inquiries, problem. But I try to keep a very high pitched voice of being happy and hyper. Might be difficult sometimes, but when you call and the person on the other side sounds so happy and excited, you are this calm and relaxed to want to say anything and deal with this person in any way. So I tell people, when people call you, they can't see you. The tone of your voice determines how long this conversation will be and if they will do business with you. When you call some certain people, they sound very upset, angry, rude. And just like, who is offending this one? Why are you? And you call some people and they sound very happy, hyper, and excited. You are relaxed to want to do business with them. So as a salesperson or as a business person, you need to understand the pitch and the tone you want to be known for. Very key in personal branding. Next slide. I will say that it's important that you connect with your audience. So I really don't want to be Sabinos. I don't want to have to wear scruffy clothes. I don't want to have to look funny to be able to get. I want to still pass my message in a very nice, professional, easy, cheerful way, but not in that way. I also want to know who my audience, like Comfort will say, she has been following me for a long time, right? She follows me on Instagram, she follows me on LinkedIn, and she can clearly say this is what I stand for. I would not post or like anything that I don't stand for. I don't even want to put my name there. But whatever I stand for, I'm willing to share and be a part of it because I understand. Now, for each brand, each personality, you need to understand where your audience can be found and how to follow them. So the other guys, they are still on Facebook, and then you have some on Instagram. And if you want the very, very young audience, Gen Zs, then you have to start going to TikTok, Snapchat, and the co. It is a lot of work to really manage all these platforms. So I tell people, choose your battle, because you trust me, you can't keep up to 6 8 platforms. So you got to choose where you want to really do well depending on your personality and your brand, and then kill it. So find a way to also connect to your audience by sharing messages with them on their birthday, liking, sending them an inbox or LinkedIn. LinkedIn is absolutely perfect for business owners and business personalities because you can't remember everything, but LinkedIn will remind you their birthday, when they get promoted, when they have a new job. LinkedIn is fantastic. Like, it's the best thing that happened to professional people, and I really must applaud them for that. Next slide. I think I have about 3 4 slides, so let me run through them. Now, when crafting your message, I tell people you also have to be very careful. So if you're not sure what to say, how to say, stick to something very easy and then retain. You can decide that you want to have a calendar or a schedule that just helps guide you what to post so that your page is not blank. It has to be interesting, it has to be engaging. And I think for me, the most interesting thing is storytelling. So find a storytelling angle to talk about anything and everything that you do. So I find the storytelling to my reviews. I find the storytelling to marketing every Wednesday and saying, this is what I think the problem might be. This is what you think I think you should do. I just make it interesting, passing a very clear message, but in a very good way through the different platforms. Next slide. So one other thing that is very important is that you need to map the customer's journey. So you need to understand from awareness, consider where they are, what they're doing, why should they buy, when can they buy, and how would they buy. That will help you determine where to find your customers, the swift delivery, and how to respond to their queries and objections. Next slide. I think I have 1 minute remaining. Okay, so I wanted to make something easy. So I said, let's bring your ideal customer to life, right? So give them names, faces, backstories. What does their day look like? What are their dreams and fears? Identify their pain points. What channels do they use so you can discover what influences their decision? Go beyond demography and then just find what they, what inspires them. Find their values and all that. So for this will be really for business brands, right? So if for instance you drop a persona for your customer, let's say you're looking at a young person between the ages of 25 to 30. So you're saying, Ade is one of my customer. This is what he looks like, his name, his face. What is he aspiring? He's a young upward mobile person, probably lives on the mainland, wants to work. He works on the island. He uses Instagram, TikTok. You to just help guide you to know who you should be targeting and how to target, because you've been able to really break down the persona of your people. Next slide. Okay, so I also talked about brand sustainability. So I tell people that whatever you choose as your brand, you should be able to sustain it. You should be able to manage it and stand by it over time. So it's not just about branding. Is it something you can keep, you can maintain, and be consistent with the quality of it? is the your name, how you say your name should also be important. People can remember and say, oh, Linda, I know how she says her name. My name is Linda. You there just be some few things that people can say, oh, this is how they remember you. And the experience or how your brand makes them feel is very important. And I'll use examples, right? So I love to I love to cook and I love to eat good food. I'm very specific about that. So I love to also try new food and new restaurants. Not really try new things per se. I stick in the same way, but I want to try a new restaurant. Now, if I feel very good about a restaurant, I'm going to go back again and again and again. And if I feel bad about a restaurant, that's the last time they're going to see me. And I'm not going to call names next time. But what I'm trying to pass on is that your brand should be able to communicate a feeling or an experience. And for instance, when some companies start up, they start up with a very high quality, right? And people love them. I don't want to call examples, but we see different brands of ice cream in Nigeria. When they start, they're really very good, very high, the quality is good. And as time goes on, you start dropping. There was one I went to the last time, I think it was last year or last 2 years, and that was the last. Before I would get home with the ice cream, it was now like Ogi. Sorry. I was drinking it. I'm wondering, is this ice cream or is this tea? I thought I bought ice cream. How did it melt so fast in less than 5 minutes that I'm drinking it now instead of using a spoon? But hey, Nigeria will definitely teach you lessons and people will begin to cut corners. And when you begin to cut corners, you will drive customers who really love your brand for what it stood for. And they begin to get confused. On that note, on my conclusion, right. So your brand is not just a logo or a slogan, it's something that's actually living, right? It's breathing. It's everything that says a lot about you and that creates a connection with you and people. Now, in this workshop, you have begun your journey of trying to really sculpture your brand, to explain to people what you want to stand for in terms of your core value, your narrative, the language, your tone, and what resonates with your audience. They are very key. And if you can't remember all of them, write them down and stand with them in such a way that when people meet you, they should be able to know what you stand for seamlessly. So a lot of people just are, oh, have you met Linda? Oh, I know Linda of business. They, oh, Linda is so nice. It's almost consistently the same thing. And now it's not just because I want to be nice. I had to learn to be nice. Why? If somebody doesn't buy from you today, the person will buy from you tomorrow. So it's not a do or die. Now, number two, there's what is called referral. And referral is the fastest way to make money and do business in Nigeria because I can't be everywhere. But if I meet someone and I really, really make an impact on that person becomes my advocate. Oh, have you met Linda? Ah, Linda can solve all your problem. Oh, go and meet Linda. Linda will help you. Linda will help. I just get people call me. Oh, somebody give me your number. Somebody give me your number. And that has really helped. That's really worked for me because when I meet people, whether I know what to do or not, or I have the solution to your problem, I will not leave you until I find solution to it. So when you call me, oh, Linda, have you done this before? I'm like, oh, no, I have not really done it before. I don't know. But what is the problem? I check my phone. I say, I don't have a solution, but I think this person can help. Call this person and tell this person Linda gave you their number. So you see, I've already created an impact on you. I've already created a mark on you saying, I don't know it all, but I will solve your problem. Anyhow, I'm going to solve it. I'm definitely going to solve it. I haven't finished my last part, comfort now. I know you are driving me away. Okay, but the work doesn't end here, right? So this is just the beginning of your brand grand adventure. Remember, the key word here is consistency. Every interaction, every piece of content, and every customer touch point should be brushstroke building on your brand masterpiece. And I'll just explain everything you're doing. So I'm done. Comfort. So everything you're doing should be in line consistently. People should know you for this. They should know you for something. And imagine staying consistent for something for 10 years. Trust me, you don't need to explain yourself again. Your brand will be really very good. On that note, I say thank you so much for having me. And I'm sorry that I spent more than my time.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Linda. That was a very, very deep one. I'm even surprised that you were able to walk us through all of your slides in the shortest time. I really wish that we had a lot of time. But I'm sure that because there's the interactive session and we can still, but I validated a few questions based on your points and your slides. So I'm not like going to ask you some of the questions. I hope you don't mind. We can
Of course.
always, yes. So thank you very much. So I'm going to remove you from the stage now, but I'm sure you can still be in the studio while Amma takes up the stage. So thank you so much for that beautiful session. Thank you so much. Okay, so the next person that is going to be with us today, our next speaker, is someone that is so dear to me. I really don't know how much to express the love and respect I have for this woman. She's an amazing person. I've learned a lot from her, working with her, working for her. She's been an amazing person, and she's been a mentor to me personally, career-wise, and all of that. So before I bring her up, please, I'm going to read up her bio so that we can all understand why I said she's an amazing person. So Amma Pakama is a founder of and managing consultant at HFW Global. Amma brings over a decade of comprehensive experience encompassing various domains, including strategy, research, project development, business structuring, communications, and people management. Her career has spanned diverse industries such as healthcare, FMCG, food, travel and logistics, real estate, financial services, business consulting, technology, oil and gas, retail, and media. This extensive exposure has provided her with a nuanced understanding of the intricacies within each sector, fostering adaptable strategies for success. Her professional journey has led her to engage with enterprises headquartered in the UK, USA, Kenya, and Nigeria. This global reach has enriched her perspective, allowing her to navigate various business landscapes, and deliver tailored solutions that transcend geographical boundaries. Amma's background and international exposure converge to establish a seasoned professional skilled at steering projects and enterprises towards sustainable growth and success. With a commitment to HFW Global's mission of achieving sustainable growth and success for each of its clients, she brings a strategic and adaptable approach that aligns seamlessly with the various needs of businesses across various industries. Please help me welcome the most beautiful Amma Pakama.
Hello, Compass. Thank you
Thank
so
you
much
so
for
much.
having me. I'm
Thank
so
you.
excited about today. I think
I
it's
am.
an amazing way to start the year. I remember when we first spoke about it, I think within the first 5 days, I beg your pardon, of 2024. So thank you
Yes.
so much for honoring me. I deeply appreciate it. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking time out of your Saturday evening to spend time with us. Thank you, Linda, for a holistic presentation. You did amazing. That was absolutely mind blowing to listen to. So I would just like to give a context of what I'm going to share here, and we can put up the slides now, please, if that's fine with you. Um, the context of these slides is really to prepare everyone for the interactive session. My goal is to set you up for success, so that you're prepared when you're asking your questions. Because the great thing about questions is that it shows that you have some knowledge. The second purpose behind this slide is to answer the questions of all those who sent questions in ahead. So I'd like to honor all of you. And most of the questions were about target audience and branding. There were some personal branding questions that Linda actually already answered, and some time management as well, and business planning. And if we can get into that. So this title, of course, is Branding and Strategy. And I really hope that these slides position you for sustainable growth. So let's jump straight into it. I have 4 learning objectives, right, from these slides. The first is for you to understand the purpose of branding, because I realize that some people don't understand the purpose, and anything that you don't understand the purpose of, it will be abused. The second thing is to give you some insights on what marketing intelligence is. You see a lot of brand campaigns, and the reality is that it is just the outcome of deep knowledge of what it is that they are selling and who they are selling it to, as well as understanding the people that are actually selling these things. The third thing I would like you to learn is building out your brand story. So essentially transforming marketing intelligence into a strong brand.
And I use the word brand story, not just branding, because the reality is that, you know, times change. I'm going to piggyback off what Linda said. Linda talked about Coke and Pepsi. Coke has evolved. Coke is not just Coke anymore. There's Coke Zero, there's Diet Coke, there's, I believe, strawberry flavored Coke in some countries. So the brand story is key, and we're going to talk about that in one of the slides going forward. And the final thing, of course, is engagement, because we don't just want it to be academic, right? You need to put in the work and actually execute the strategies and the learnings that you're going to get from today. So let's jump straight into it. The first thing to understand is the purpose of branding. Branding is so that you can connect with the people that you actually want to engage, both internally and externally. The reality is that branding is really about all your stakeholders. I'll give you a good example. If you want to get a grant for your business, in some organizations, if it is not aligned with SDGs, that's sustainable development goals, you're not going to get a grant. And so the purpose of branding is connection. You want to make a connection, customer centric design, be it in the logos, the colors that you choose, your brand messaging, the type of content that you create, the places, whether it's above the line or below the line marketing, the places, the platforms that you use to actually put out your brand. Connection is the core purpose of branding. The second thing is your target audience. We're going to speak about that more. But really understanding who these people are, what is their lifestyle, what are their priorities, what are their fears. Right now, if you notice, a lot of people are working globally, meaning that you can be, in some African country or Indian country, and you're working for a company in Europe or North America. The lifestyle of people and our realities post-pandemic have allowed this to happen. So branding actually is focused on your target audience, both as a buyer, as someone that is going to work in your organization, as I said earlier, possibly an investor. The third purpose of branding is risk management. Enterprise risk management is controlling and organizing and making decisions around ensuring that your capital investment into your company is not wasted. So when you think about risk management, you see slogans like, or you see advertising, like Heineken has some billboards that even behind the messaging, right there, they put it there because of course it's on the road. They say, don't drink and drive. So their branding is that even if we're an alcoholic beverage, we're thinking about your safety. So that's risk management. That's one of the core purposes of branding. Don't drink and drive. Smokers are liable to die young. Not to be sold to people, to those below 18. Of course, that's really focused on narcotics and alcoholic beverages, as I said earlier. But that's one of the core purposes of branding. Now you think about it, and let's bring it home. Think about it. But I'm a tailor in Nigeria. What's my branding? How's that going to affect my branding? If you put it out there that I won't have a meeting with you unless you've made a down payment, or unless when you book an appointment, you have to pay a token, or once your outfit has left my store, there are no refunds, or I will not adjust more than XYZ number of times because that's spending my time. That's risk management within your branding. So when you put that at the core of the matter, we can now jump into the next step in our process. Now that we know the purpose, we can look at what's next on the slides. Now, when we think about all this information, right, how do we situate it? Meaning, what is relevant to me in all this information? There are three things I want you to keep at the forefront of your mind: psychographics, pestle, and your peers. Excuse me. When you think about psychographics is really all the characteristics of your target audience. That's whoever you're going to sell to, right? Excuse me. Beg your pardon, I don't know where that's coming from. So the psychographic, there's also demographics. I threw in the demographics there, which is mostly age, gender, and income, right? There's also psychographics, which are the things that really explain your target audience. Then there's pestle. The pestle analysis is the reality of the environment that you as a business exist in. And then your peers are really your competitors, or people that will be substitutes. For instance, just after the pandemic, right, when everybody knows there was changes in inflation, food inflation, the value of every currency, not just Nigeria's currency, fluctuated. In Nigeria and in Africa in general, one thing happened, right? The sales of malt drinks, it plummeted. It went all the way up. It increased significantly. Why? Because a lot of people that were beer drinkers, they switched to malt because it's a similar thickness and other, and it's not as sweet as other carbonated drinks. So when you think about your peers, substitutes, and competitors, the first question is, okay, if my business doesn't exist now, who will people look at? Where would they go to? And why? When you consider things like that, it positions you on how you're going to brand your company so that you know that, of course, you're invaluable, you're not dispensable, and that you actually are the preferred choice amongst the target, because the target audience, there are several of you that are competing for their attention and for their cash, because what's most important in all this is conversion. Let's step into pestle. So when you think about pestle, if you look at the right side of this table, it's starting from this second or third to the last on the right side. Yes, no, this is the last one. So you look at the environmental, legal, technological, social life, economics, and politics. If you look at the political terrain in your country right now, in the context of the political terrain, what kinds of things can I say in my branding messaging? Will it be offensive? Will it be acceptable? The product that I want to bring into the market, is it legal? My processes within my organization, are they legal? These are the things that you have to think about. I say, oh, in branding, why does the legality of my staff matter? It matters because don't forget, in your branding, it's not just who you're selling to, it's who will become a part of your staff body. Because the reality is that who your staff are really determine the level of your growth, the sustainability of your growth, and how well your business is actually positioned for success. Because really, who is your business? Your business is people, right? Think about the economics as well. If you think about pricing, Linda mentioned pricing. So look at the economic realities. In Lagos right now, there are about 20 million people there, but only 1% are car owners. So if maybe you have a car wash, for instance, you have to think about it. How much am I going to cost cars? How many people own luxury cars? How many people own ordinary cars? How many people own sedans or four-wheel drives? These are the things that you have to consider when you're thinking about pricing, the economics of your environment. You have to think about the social life of people as well, and technology. So in Africa, one thing is that we are mobile first, right? So that is why a lot of fintechs and tech companies, they are doing so well, because almost everybody has a mobile phone, but not necessarily a desktop computer or not necessarily a large television in their homes. When you think about that, it also helps you to position your branding, helps you think about your marketing and the best way for you to advertise. Then think about your market type as well. The market that you want to go in. Somebody asked the question, how does she get visibility in the events management space, given that it's already saturated? So she already knows the market type is highly competitive. And so the question now is that, what is she going to have a niche? Is she going to focus on only maybe baby showers or on bridal showers? Or is she going to be the kind of event planner that, look, I'm your event planner, but I will not only plan your events, I will also find you your venue. I will be your event planner / events manager. She really has to think about what it is that is special about herself and about her business. And we're going to talk about that with the unique selling point as well. Then we jump into psychographics once more and demographics. If you widen it, apart from people's fears, what their socioeconomic status, we talked about that with regards to cars in Lagos, what's their family life cycle. Again, we're going to talk about narcotics and alcoholic beverages. I'm sure several Nigerians that are signed up, I know that about 70 people signed up, they know RMD. He's a veteran actor. When RMD turned 60, he said that neither his mother or father lived up to 60. Your target audience cannot be somebody like that, because he will most likely not be interested in alcoholic beverages or narcotics, right? That kind of person, if you sell him anything that is detrimental to his health, he'll most likely ignore you. So depending on the product that you have, he's not your target audience. So we think about people's different lifestyles, their experiences, their interests and their personalities, their values and their attitude. Now, if all this I'm saying doesn't really, you're trying to wonder, what's the context of this? In the next slide, we're going to talk about how to make use of all this information. Let's use a very easy case study that all of us can relate to. Japa, right? What's happening right now in Nigeria is a great level of brain drain that is, quite frankly, apart from Canada, but Canada is the one that a lot of people are drawn to right now. Canada, the UK, a few European countries, and North America to an extent. Sorry, United States to an extent. So the brain drain in Nigeria is Canada's gain. Why? If you look at the psychographics, you look at the person and you look at the peers. We've talked about the different peers in quotes of Canada. Those are the other countries that people can move to, right? Let's focus on Canada themselves. Canada has a stable and structured economy that promises, free education for your children, spousal support, jobs that will allow you to make the best use of your skills. And they also have a need, an aging population. So when they have young people coming, you're actually building up their economy. They're not just inviting you because they like your face. They also have a need that has to be met, which is similar to you as a business, right? You have a need, you want to make revenue. That's why you're in business. And profit, I beg your pardon. Though some companies are not profitable, they just make revenue, but that's a story for another day. And then consider that beside Nigeria, which has a questionable in quote economy, but we have intelligent, young, vibrant people, a population of people that really want to do their best and become their best and make the best decisions for their children, because that's our culture. So think about that from the context of psychographics and the demography. Uh, um, the pestle analysis, of the different economies and their peers. That allows you to see how needs are being met between Nigeria and Canada. If you think about it from that point of view, it really helps you to understand the best way to use information, right? So from here, let's jump into how exactly this information can be drawn out from all these facts that we've mentioned. The best way to understand all this information that we have talked about gathering is marketing intelligence. And if you recall, that's the second thing we wanted to learn here today. The first is the purpose of branding. The second is marketing intelligence. So marketing intelligence is really how to translate all this data into actionable strategies, activities, and tasks. And so you asked me, okay, how? The first thing is data and analysis. If you remember, I had said to you straight that 1% of Lagosians have cars. How do I know this? Because I have done the numbers from looking at the number of Uber drivers, personal cars, level of traffic. I'll be able to do a data analysis, which has now accumulated to that 250K number compared to over 20 million people in Lagos State. That's data analysis. When you are able to do the data analysis, immediately you understand how to brand your product, because now a question of, oh wow, these are the people, this is the potential market I have, this is the kind of people that I will be selling to. It already, provides a level of ease to your decision making around the kind of brand that you want to have. Let's go forward to research and development. We mentioned the different types of cars, the number of people that have luxury cars, number of people that have, normal priced cars in quotes. That's like the Toyotas, the Hondas, so on and so forth. From your research and development, you now ask yourself, okay, how many of these cars are four-wheel drives? Are they Tokumbo cars? Are they Nigerian used cars? What does that have to do with maybe if I'm selling tires, for instance, what kind of tires do I need to buy? Which of these markets should I focus on? That's your research and development. From there, you now think about future trajectories. Linda mentioned 3 to 5 years when you're thinking about your mission, right? That's what it is. Based on the research and development from the number of cars, from our economy, from the way inflation is going, the value of the naira dropped by 50% between 2023 and 2024. Based on these future trajectories, how does that affect the amount of money I will make? And how does that affect the way I will speak to my customers? Am I going to be kind? Am I going to threaten them that, man, if you don't buy tires today, by Easter, the price will double. Better come and buy now. That's what market intelligence provides for you. And then there's that scenario planning, because you now know the kind of marketing, messaging to create and the kind of brand. You now have, okay, different scenarios. If I position my brand like this, if I position my brand like that, if I use red or if I use green. If I use red, which is a color for like danger and vibrancy, that's what the color represents. Beside that kind of urgency in my messaging, you have to buy this January, you have to buy in February. Between Valentine and New Tire, which one is more important? When you have those kinds of scenarios playing out, it's because you have the marketing intelligence. You've been able to take data and translate it into campaigns, which is really a campaign is really a task that is filled with activities which is within your marketing strategy. So let's jump to the next thing. So what's your brand story, right? I've shared many scenarios, and within this, I'm sure you can now begin to have ideas. And I'm hoping that this has activated, you know, a desire and interest in figuring out, okay, so what's my brand story? And what is the meat of the brand story? You know, whenever we watch maybe a Nigerian film, at the end, there's always a lesson. Oh, be a good friend, be a better friend. No matter how much you suffered in life, things will work out, right? So that's what your brand story doing. Your brand story is meant to sell your mission and your vision. The second thing your brand story is meant to do is to describe your unique selling point. Your unique selling point, by now, you should understand that it should also come from that marketing intelligence. So your marketing intelligence actually has a dual role. You may have a product today, but after you've gone into the market, you recognize that maybe this product is not the best. And when we go forward, I'm going to explain that to you in value. Think about value and quality, expatiate on that unique selling point. It's also meant to invite people to buy from you and work for you. We've spoken about that already. So what's your mission and what's your vision? Linda has described it widely, but I'm just going to share, really succinct, in a really succinct manner, I beg your pardon, what your mission is, so that when you are building it out, you don't get derailed. Can we share that? The next slide, please. Thank you. So your mission is the goal. That is why your business exists. Some banks, they exist to make transactions easier, to meet the need of every individual and every organization that wants to transact either in Africa or globally. That's a mission statement, and that's your goal. That's why you're in business. What's your vision? Your vision is your victory, in quotes. Means that who you'll be when you've achieved this goal, meaning that you'll be the leading bank of Nigerian origin on the global financial market. That's what your vision is. And so every decision that you take, right, in executing your mission will bring you to your vision. And so the ability to sell that to your staff or sell that to the people that will actually bank with you, that is your brand story. That's one of the biggest parts of your brand story. So let's move on to value and qualities. Value and quality is really identifying your unique selling point. And before we break it down, I want to share a very short story. Not really a case study, but a story of the evolution of Zoom, Google Meets, and Microsoft Teams. So Zoom existed as a platform that was focused on virtual, meetings pre-COVID, but people didn't really take note of them. And a lot of people, like I know that I interacted with, were like, what's the use of Zoom? There's Skype, and nobody's even really using Skype. And at that time, video calling was even trying to become a thing. So immediately COVID hits, people now recognize that, okay, we actually need Zoom. It's simple. It's, the UI and the UX, the interface and the design is simple, and it's very straight up to get into it. It's not only users that notice this, so their peers also notice this. Their peers being Google and Microsoft. So if you look at Google, if you take a little, backstory, Google had something that was called Google Messenger or something like that. And many people didn't use it. It didn't really grow. A lot of people didn't find it useful because we had transcended from like Yahoo Messenger, we're now on WhatsApp. Like, what are people doing? Why do I want to message you inside email? It was just weird. In fact, the only two people that I know that used to engage me are very nerdy people on Google Messenger. But because it existed already, and Google was watching and they saw how Zoom became relevant. And don't forget that Google also had their market. There's other people that had their email addresses and also people that use Google for business for their companies. They already had an audience to meet that need. So imagine, so in their heads, it's like, Zoom is outside and our people are going outside to have meetings, but their official email addresses are here. No way. So they stepped up and they pulled out Google Meet. And before you know it, in fact, it's interesting because initially Google Meet was actually really used by children because it was so easy. Because of course, offices were out, schools were out during COVID. So it was easy for children to actually use it to take exams and whatnot. Then going forward, of course, Microsoft Teams, they also caught up. They also upgraded, they identified that there were issues with Zoom, because I don't know if people heard about it, but globally people will be in meetings and someone will just bust into people's meetings on Zoom because they didn't have the proper security to, keep meetings private, and random people were just leaking company secrets. Security was ridiculous. So based on this, when you think about your unique selling points, I must share with you I must share with you that one of the greatest ways to identify your unique selling point is via value innovation by Kaizen. And Kaizen is continuous improvement. If you listen to the story from Zoom to Google Meet to Microsoft Teams, they were just improving on what was existing. So your unique selling point is something that is actually not far from you. If you pay attention to the details, you will actually be able to find your unique selling point. If you look at your target audience and your selling point and identify a market gap, you have a differentiated product. And that is the unique selling point that you will share within your brand story. And at this point, I must share with you that you shouldn't limit yourself to market intelligence. In fact, the more you look at a product as a user and an observer over being a researcher, it actually helps you to identify market gaps really quickly. So if you're really paying attention, you see that a lot of things that we're telling you about branding, and I think I mentioned it earlier, it can actually change your product. And at this point, it's something that you should consider. Branding is not just splashing colors. Branding is actually an intelligent process that can help you to progress within your industry. So let's move on to the next thing. So the question now is, now that we have all this information, now that we understand how to identify who we are, our place in the market, those that can possibly take our target audience from us, and the best possible ways to move forward with all this information, how do we execute? There are two primary ways to execute your brand. That is to share. When I say execute, of course, I mean to connect with people, to share with others, so on and so forth. The first is virtual. Um, Virtually organic growth. You can put up your LinkedIn, you can put up your Facebook, whatever it is. You can set up and schedule all your content. In fact, you can sit down today and schedule content for the next 2 years if you have the content. Linda already talked about having a content calendar. You can also run digital campaigns, which I'm sure we've seen several. I don't know if you guys remember or are aware of the time that the Twitter was amongst, I think, 3 banks. I know First Bank was a part of it. I think Sterling as well, and they were going back and forth. MTN and Airtel have also had some battles around 5G. But what is happening that these people are running digital campaigns and they are gaining traction on it. Of course, we've seen the ones that they've used comedians as well. When it's Salah used that guy um that had that meme. He had on a winter jacket and it went viral. And we're going to talk about that. And that's really the next thing, creating or capitalizing on trends. In fact, if you look at it to YouTube Shorts and TikTok as well. So TikTok had short form videos and it was killing YouTube's market. And quickly YouTube created their own YouTube Shorts. So that's branding though. And if you see, that's evidence to what we said, that the branding journey helped YouTube to create a product within their products. And that's just how powerful branding is, because you use the market intelligence, right? And then also we see that whole thing about creating and capitalizing on trends. We see how people use it for a lot of pandemic content. And there was a lot of growth and success amongst content creators in these 2 years of that pandemic. A pandemic lasted about 500 to 800 days thereabouts. And we saw a lot of growth, in that space from virtual branding and executing brands. The second primary way, of course, is in person. And one of the first things that a lot of people use is road shows. If you notice, in Hollywood uses that a lot. When musicians have new songs, they have concerts and they say, oh, performing here, there, everywhere. It's all part of the road show. If you think about Black Panther, when the movie came out, if you notice, there were several media houses in different locations globally that either they will have red carpets or they will have interviews of the actors and actresses. That's all part of the roadshow. So you ask me, oh, Amma, I'm speaking plenty English. How do I do a roadshow? As a local brand, almost every industry in Nigeria has industry events at particular times of the year. So the onus is on you to go and find out about your industry, no matter how small it is, no matter how big it is. I know of there's Wedding Expo. I know that agricultural, different parts of the agricultural value chain, they have all kinds of events all over Nigeria. I've heard of the ones in Kaduna, in Abuja, in Kano, in Lagos, everywhere. There's some that even happen in Ghana. I recall a friend, I was in a clothing designer in Nigeria. She actually went to Ghana with some of her designs. So that's really what a roadshow is about. The second thing, which Linda had mentioned, is word of mouth, and she is right. 80% of marketing and sales in Nigeria actually come from recommendations. And then, of course, the final thing is sharing the process. And I'm going to use StratPal as an example. Imagine um if Comfort decides to create maybe a reel sharing some of the chats she's had with me in the process of coming here, that she's had with Linda, if she shares the back end of her staff working late into the night, trying to call and make sure that people that signed up can actually attend this event. That's showing the back end and that's sharing the process. If you share this process now, that's branding, because telling people that we're committed to the cause, that we took our time, we identified people that were the best for them to attend. I beg your pardon, to share their experiences and their knowledge from their expertise with you guys. That's a great way of sharing the process. It's in person. I'm inviting you in to come and see how I get to where I am going. And a lot of brands do that. They have people coming to see their factories. You see these news bulletins, oh, this company opened a new state of the art factory, so on and so forth, and you see that they have a delegation coming and walk on and look around and see what they're doing. That is sharing the process. That's branding. You're saying what they're communicating is, look, we are invested in becoming better, so that we're reinvesting, our stakeholders or board members' money, and the revenue that we have gained, we are using it judiciously. I beg your pardon. And we're also telling our target audience that come and work with us. So we are going somewhere. We are doing the best that we can with the existing technology, and we are growing. And everybody wants to be part of a success story. So that being said, thank you so much again for listening to us. And as I shared with Comfort, the last slide is my favorite slide. I cannot wait to have the interactive session and really hear your thoughts and your pain points, and then help you to the best of my ability to solve these problems. Thank you so much for listening to me. Thank you, Comfort, for having me.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. I really appreciate this. And like I said, that today's session is going to be an amazing one. And there's a lot of things to learn. My notepad is filled already. And I can't wait to have Linda back on stage so that we can also kick off the um, interactive session. I have a lot of questions, and I hope that we are ready. And please, everyone, if you have your questions, you can go ahead and type it in the comment section, and then I would read up the questions to our speakers to um, provide answers to, and then I'll also be providing answers to some of the ones that I want to attend to as well. So. Hello, Amma. Are we ready for us? Can we go into the interactive session now?
By all means,
Okay.
yes, please.
Okay, Linda, are we ready? There's a lot of questions. Hello, Linda. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Sorry, I was just trying to unmute my mic. I'm here.
Okay. Okay, so the first question I should ask, one question that I got from, let me start with Amma. So there is something you mentioned about sharing the process. I think a lot of startup are always afraid of doing that. I don't know why, because they fear that someone will steal their idea, and that is something that keeps me worried sometimes, because I worked at a startup where when you want to talk about the process, it's like, no, it's confidential, don't share, don't talk about what we're doing. But then is that a lot of people, you need to give that connection. They want to see the personal side and the individual side. When you see a lot of influencers now, you see that comparing an influencer's personal page and a business page, you see the difference, the growth. How they grow is different, because there is always the human side that people want to see aligned to your business. But when they are unable to align the human, people don't want to interface with a robot. They want to know that you are human, you feel the same way they feel, and that the products that you're building, you're actually building it for them. And I think a lot of tech startups these days are actually doing it now. Some new startups, not the old ones. I'm talking about the new startup founders. They're now building in public. So they build in public, they take you through the process, you test the product, you give feedback, they innovate, they enhance, and but that is something that some of these startups are not doing. So how can these startups share their process or share what they are doing without having to minimizing the risk of being copied, or how can we get them to understand the perspective of sharing the process and carrying your audience along in the journey?
Thank you so much. That's such a good question. So there's this influencer I follow. She is a military wife and she has twin babies. She's 25 years old. I follow her because I'm amazed at how excellent she is. She's a stay-at-home mother, but this woman is excellent. She executes tasks. She has a routine. And there's something she said one day in passing that, oh, now she gives her twins, her 2-year-old twins, magnesium before bed, the days that they are at the chiropractor. I said, I've watched your content for almost 2 years. I have never seen you take your children to a chiropractor. And that is because she's consistently sharing, but she's not sharing everything. So the first thing that founders need to do is they need to identify what can be shared and what cannot be shared. It's
Mm,
extremely important. And this will take me to
mm,
another thing. One of the first companies I worked at, there was something on one of our walls: move fast and break things. And let me break that down. There's a story I read a few years ago. An executive of Nokia and an executive of Apple, they were sitting in the back seats together. And the Nokia executive was talking about, oh, how this is what they are doing, this is what they are doing, but they're afraid, they're hiding it from people. And the Apple guy was like, we can share it because we've already moved on. This thing doesn't matter anymore. So if you're moving quickly and people are looking at your archives, it doesn't really matter, does it? You can share it because it's not going to kill you. People hearing about it's not going to kill you. Jeff Bezos, that's the founder of Amazon, he was interviewed sometime last year and asked him what's the plan for 2024. He was like, we're already in 2028 in our strategic plan. So
mm,
2024 is not really relevant to them in quotes. If you notice, that's what I talked about: future trajectories and scenario planning.
mhm.
So the reality is that they are afraid because they've not looked at it holistically. That's really where I'm going to. If you look at it holistically, if you've divided, this is the thing that nobody will know. I mean, Coca-Cola, they have their recipe on an island, and very few people have access to. Only people in the bloodline, and this bloodline, they own less than 10% of the Coca-Cola franchise right now. I mean, in value, ownership. But only those people know the recipe. But there are so many case studies on Coca-Cola and Pepsi, the Coca-Cola wars. So we have so much information, but we don't have all the information. I'm learning that people are afraid because they've not looked at it holistically or because of limited knowledge. So if these founders can go and sit down and check and decide, okay, oh, this is what nobody can, this is what people can do, they can now be more open to sharing the process. That's it.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. So the key thing
Pleasure.
for business owners to do is to determine what can be shared and what cannot be shared, and also to have an holistic approach and look at the business generally. Thank you so much for that. So, Linda, you made mention of Sabinus. I love Sabinus. I love Sabinus so much. And then, so when you said that, it made me remember a particular music campaign that one skit maker that entered into music industry. He launched a music, he released his music, and he was doing a campaign, music dance, a dance challenge. But instead of Sabinus to wear his usual attire, Sabinus wore someone else's attire while someone else wore Sabinus attire. But so immediately I saw that, I think Don Jazzy wore Sabinus attire. So I was like, oh, this is Sabinus. So that brand, so that dress code, that blue and shirt
Yes,
and then the
yes,
black
yes.
trouser, yeah, and the short tie, it's tied to Sabinus. That anywhere you see that cloth, you already know this person is trying to mimic Sabinus. So that example was really really spot on. Thank you so much. That made me laugh a lot. It just brought back memories about the campaign. So for someone who doesn't know anything about online branding, like online brand building at all, how can that person start? For people who does not have any idea, don't understand what branding is entirely, how can they start? Like, what's the approach? What's the step they can take? Simple steps that they can even take to go ahead with branding, building their brand.
Okay, thank you so much for the question. That's a very serious question because it's like teaching somebody how to speak English from ground zero. But the only way you can learn English is if you consistently keep practicing it over a long period of time. So, you mentioned something about Sabinus and Don Jazzy. I'm sure you didn't even look at the face to see if it was Don Jazzy. You just said Sabinus. And it's
Yes.
funny how that shirt and trouser and shoe have stuck to your mind. That if Sabinus actually, have you ever seen Sabinus in his real picture when he looks like a fine boy? You will not know he's Don
Yes.
Jazzy. When I saw him the
Exactly.
other time, he said he was in Port Harcourt, like well dressed. I was like, what? Is this how this guy really looks in? Like, is this fine? Don't mind me. I was just, but he he now has an identity. So if Sabinus comes in here all dressed, suit or native, gagged up, we will not recognize him. But if Sabinus comes in here with that dead shirt and trouser and shoe, you will see everywhere will just go off. There was a time I went for an event and Brother Shaggy came in. Hey, that one's another person that has everybody's shouting Brother Shaggy, Brother Shaggy. I'm like, what is happening here? Now you need to understand that you have to sit down and think and deliberately choose what you want. I can't make that choice for you. So, for instance, you see some people, and I gave simple examples, they have a hair signature. This is their permanent hair style every single time. That's their style. You see some people, and I always tell people try to find what fits you, especially for instance. So let's give two examples now. If you're a skit maker and you're a comedian, good for you. Your life is online, so you got to find what works for your audience that you are serving. So understand that you have a market that you're trying to be, and they must consistently follow you for you to make money through brand endorsement and co. But now let's go to the corporate world. If you are a corporate individual who is going to work, or you're a CEO trying to build a business, you can sit down and say, how do I build a brand that is not so expensive? For some people, it's their signature wristwatch. When you see their wristwatch, you'll be like, oh my God. For some people, when they walk into a room, their signature is their perfume. They take over, and they have deliberately thought about it that this one is what I'm going to use to confuse people. It's not a mistake, it is a style. And when they want to buy perfume, they go for the very expensive one. And sometimes they either have all strong or all soft, or they have the particular brand they constantly pray. So that when you enter, you just say, did the former just pass here? She has created her style, and it's her perfume. Now, you see some people, you see them, and anytime you see them, they're always wearing nice dresses. There's this lady I follow online. I think it's Powedo. She's a pilot, but she's like a social media influencer doing very well. And she's always wearing nice dresses. When you see the dresses, you will be like, if this is how dresses look on everybody, God help me. That's her style. And then she's always wearing nice hairs. Like her hairs are always on point. It's her signature. And people are knowing her for that. So I would tell people, don't break the bank. Start from where you are. Start small and then grow. So if you're going to be a guy who wants to be known, you people on the very cheap and easy, you can't go wrong. If you are going to wear a shirt, make sure that the shirt is nice. Make sure that if it's a color, you have some colors that fit you. So don't wear because they say this is what is trending, this one. If you see Adebola Williams, he's always on white native red cap. Day, sunlight, brightness, winter, spring, anything, anywhere. Even with all the UN events he went to, he was on that white native red cap. No changing. And you can imagine, and sometimes I ask myself, say, how many white natives does this guy have? And how many red caps? But it is consistent. And the white is not off-white, though. It's not, I'm close to white. In between white, mixed white, pure white. And if you notice, there's one young guy that's always following Tony Melu and copying him. Tony's suits are always the same. White shirt, red tie, the same socks. To see, he pays attention to the socks. And you will not even know that people actually look at him from head to toe, but they know. So if it's your shirt and his black suit, please do the suit well. Let us know. Not coat, oh, please. I said suit. If you cannot buy suit, leave coat. Just wear shirt. Nice shirt. Wear it with a nice trouser, nice shoe. If you're a lady, you can say, oh, I think pant trousers fit me. I wear different colors of pant trousers with nice shirts, do my hair. It will grow and it will be with time. Now, you mentioned something quickly. Let me round up with the brand, for instance. Why people don't follow brands is because the brands don't have anything to tell you. They just say, follow me. Follow you for what? Why? Who you help? Why should I follow you? What I'll just be following for what? Now, the influencers are doing well because they have decided to invest into content creation. You can't be bored. Don't see. I tell people, I say Instagram is a possessed place. The witches and wizards there, they are wicked. Don't go to Instagram if you have something good to do with your life. They know how to lure you. Once you press key, you are there. 2 hours is gone. Now, the influencers know what content, and that's why when you see brands that create content, they know what they are doing. GT Bank, for instance, fashion, food, Ndani TV, podcasts. They have to stay relevant. So as a brand, please find something to do that will help you stay relevant. Don't come and be telling me to follow you. I don't know why I'm following you. If at any point in time I need your product, I know where to find you. I'll come and buy. But why should I follow you if you're not adding to me? So you must think with your head, what do people want to know us for? So for instance, somebody say, oh, I don't know what to create. Think, you are selling perfumes. What kind of perfume should Linda spray? Come up with some nice comedy skits weekly about it. You will see some people, they'll spray perfume, you almost have convulsion. And I think, is this one perfume or what? Why? So teach people what to spray, when, how to spray it. Don't do it like this because you borrowed it. It's not your own. When you now buy your own, you don't want to tell them. Just give us content. It could be professional, it could be interesting, but then I'll follow you because I'm saying, okay, how do I mice this my designer perfume so it will not finish? When do I spray it? Which one is good for our weather? I've told some people that it's not everything that you see online that you buy. There was one of my friends that sent me a message, say, Linda, I saw this thing on TikTok. Buy it for me. I went to Primark store. I called, I said, you want to die? Nigeria that we don't have lights? You want to wear this? I said, heat will kill you. Leave TikTok or this cloth cannot. She said, oh, it looks nice. I said, it's like wool. You will, before morning, you'll be dead. Heat. She started laughing. It's not everything that works. There are some perfumes I spray in London. They are so cool. They are so nice. I come back to Nigeria and spray them like, why is this thing wanting to kill me? Because our weather is so hot. It's so hot. You want to even choke on the perfume you sprayed. You want to, I'm like, I bought perfume. I want to kill myself. I'll just carry it back and call my cousin. But when you're coming, come and carry you. It's not working for our weather at all. There was one cream I bought, nice cream in the UK. When I rub it like this, I'll be warm. I don't sweat. I came back to Nigeria. I rubbed the cream. I almost collapsed. From my room to my car. The way I was sweating, you think I was on treadmill for 30 minutes. I said, I want to use my hand and buy problem. I just packaged it back. I told my auntie, when you are going, please help me dash my cousin. This cream is not for this Niger weather. I will collapse because I don't even like makeup as much. The weather is so hot. I don't even want anything to add to my problem because I already know I have sweating problem. I'll now have used my money to buy cream. So we just need to know what works and we'll get it right. I hope I answered that question.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You got me laughing so hard. Thank you so much. That you answered the question. You did excellently well. Thank you so much. So, but I just wanted to add a few things to that for the person who asked the question about how to start. I know you mentioned something on your slide about questions that you should ask yourself if you want to get into building your brand or driving creating a message. So for me personally, when it comes to brand, I feel like you have to, first of all, when you want to start, you have to first of all determine what you want to be known for. Because what do you want? If it's going to be a personal brand, that I mean, what do you want to be known for? There is Salem Kingi. If you hear Salem Kingi, you know that yes, he's a creator for creators. You know that already. If you talk about Miss Techie, you know that she's always talking about product reviews. Once you go on her page, that's what you see. So that, because she knows what she wants to be known for, so that drives the kind of content that she's pushing out on her page. So you have to determine what exactly do you want to be known for. If it's your business, what do you want your business to be known for exactly? What is the perception you're trying to instill in people? And then you have to also look at what problem do you want to solve with your personal brand or your business. What problem do you want to solve? If you're looking at solving a problem for, maybe, let's say, for example, if you're looking at I know that for during the festive period, some fashion people always complain about fashion tailors who don't deliver their clothes on time. So if you're that fashion designer or a stylist, that you know that your strength is in timely delivery, that is a problem. That's a You know that your core strength, you can deliver on time, even before time. So that is a key problem that exists in the fashion industry. People delivering their clothes late. You understand? Or the part of what I ordered versus what I got. It was trending some time ago. So you gotta look at what problem do you want to solve in the industry. And then also, when you figure out what the problem you want to solve, look at who are the people that actually have this problem. Because there's some people that would never give their clothes to the next door tailor. They would never give their clothes. They will always prefer clothes that is imported. So why are you not trying to market to those people? So you have to look at, even if your industry looks like a generalist industry, you have to still niche down. Look at the niche within that niche. Because as a startup, if you're looking at marketing to everybody, I was telling someone that uh, not every even if your product is in the healthcare, where everybody wants to be treated, everybody, but not everybody needs a particular drug at every point in time. So during the cold season, you know that, yes, if you own a pharmacy, you want to keep marketing your flu drugs, your fever medicine. That one, this is the current need at this particular moment in time. This is how people are feeling. The weather is cold. There's Amatan. I think I loved Nivea's advertisement during. I think that should be 2 years ago when they did Amatan can't kill this or something like that. That was what made me start using Nivea. Just that billboard as Amatan can't kill this. So they looked at what I am feeling at that particular moment, what the world is saying, what people are thinking about. I can't be walking in the street and be having white knuckles or white elbows. So because I know that some creams can, no matter how they tell you that it's a moisturizing lotion, it would not moisturize that stuff. So you have to understand who actually have that problem that you want to solve. I mean, what problem do you want to solve? Who are those people that have that problem? And then there's a part of consistency, please, because what if we know you for something today, and then tomorrow another thing, next tomorrow, we feel like we'll be confused. We'll be confused. So you need to, even if you're going to, I know the part of continuous innovation, because Nivea did, they can't be keep during rainy season. They can't put up Amatan and can't eat it during rainy season. No, but all through the period of Amatan season, it was Amatan. They came up with different ads, even with different ladies, with men, with couples, and with children going to school. All of their campaigns were centered around the Amatan season. So you have to really understand that, so that you don't get your customers or your audience confused about what you're trying to sell to them and what you're trying to tell them. So I have a few more questions. I think Amma would join us, but probably she's having network issues. But I'm just going to go ahead. Okay, she's back now. Okay, so Amma, this question is for you. Okay, so when you were talking about your slide, I love the part where you talked about market intelligence. I think that is something that a lot of people don't really prioritize. A lot of people don't really prioritize when it comes to research and data. Then even whatever you're doing, there is data has a role to play in every decision that you're making. So in branding generally, what is the role of research in branding generally? What is the role of research for someone who have no clue about research, have no clue about branding? How can they integrate that, and how can they go about that in the simplest form?
Thank you so much. The first thing is relevance. If you don't do research, what you provide and what you produce cannot be relevant. Give you a fantastic example. Um, Yesterday, I was in an Uber and we were talking about transfers, and he told me how um, the reason why a lot of them are jumping on fintechs, PalmPay, OPay, and Money Points is because immediately you do a transfer to them, they get an alert because they said that there are people that will say that they've transferred money to them and they never get the alert. So even if they don't get a credit alert immediately, he knows that he'll get into his email and he will see the alert. That's a unique selling point there. That's branding. If everybody knows Money Points, they didn't really do any advertising. It was until we heard that they were a success that we began to hear about who they are. So the first thing with branding, the first reason to do your research, to check data, is because of relevance. And I know we talked about it. What you really said is your unique selling points. And if you do your branding research properly, to actually affect the quality and the value that your product will provide. It's extremely important. The second reason for doing research is actually to answer that question. You know, Linda said, what content can they create? Anything, be creative. If you do the research and if you have the data, if you understand who you're selling to, then you know what content to provide. I was listening to this someone that has been an influencer for over 10 years, and I know she makes six figures like per month. And she said that when you're building content, there are three things you should consider. Is either you entertain, or you educate, or you inspire and motivate. A lot of Gen Z right now, a lot of people say that, oh, they are this, they are that, and they're the other thing. But if you think about it, when people are really trying to sell to Gen Z, they are really trying to entertain them. When they are really trying, people try to sell to millennials, that's us. I mean, millennial, I don't know. Millennials, they are always trying to inspire and motivate them. And then think about it when they are selling to the older people, that's the baby boomers, the veterans, they are always trying to educate them because if you think about it, they've reached a point of life where they have, reached a particular point, and really educating them is, their core activity now because they want to understand what are these young people doing. They're not digital natives, so they need to understand what's going on in the world. That's why newspapers make sense. Newspapers are not really for Gen Z or for millennials. They're primarily for like it's true now, primarily for baby boomers, and veterans, these older people. So once you can do your research, you can identify relevance. You understand the particular people you're selling to. The Economist, right now, The Economist, they do these pop-ups now on YouTube. If you know The Economist is a very old magazine that does data analysis globally. They do global reviews of institutions and so on and so forth. Before they were just this paperback magazine that was, I think, monthly or periodically. I don't remember how often it was coming out. But now they do pop-up ads on YouTube because they want to engage their target audience. So that is the thing with branding, with research in branding. I think relevance really covers everything, the right type of content, the particular kind of audience you have, and so on and so forth. So I hope that answer, is holistic enough.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Amma. So I have one more question each for both of you, if you don't mind. Okay, so I'm just good with Linda. So there's a question, it's building a communication strategy. So how can you build a communication strategy? Because in branding, there is a lot of things linked into it that influence every single thing that you are doing generally. So how can you build a communication strategy? I know that's a very um, deep question and to require a lot. But if you don't mind, just summarizing it, probably points on how they can build a communication strategy for the brand.
Okay, so I'll try to share some points from my head, but somehow in my mind, I just feel like Amma should have done better justice to this question because she's killing it sharp. But I want to quickly touch on something she mentioned, previously about money points. So I was reading something today, and the link of the story shared that Money Point did 5 billion naira worth of transaction alone in 2023, bigger than some banks. 5 billion. And that was just because they saw that there was a problem and they solved the problem quickly. Because I also started doing my questions and findings, because when I go to the market and when I go to when I use Uber sometimes, everybody is either on Pampay, Money Point, or OPay. And I'm like, these guys are not the big money spenders in the banking sector industry. I work for a media house, so we know the spenders. You know people spending money on radio ads, billboard ads, TV ads. How are these guys getting this market without the kind of publicity that I expect that should influence it? And I tell people, I say, whatever you're doing, you need to try to create value, because the number and the volume at that bottom, they are in billions if you calculate it together. Because if you add, for instance, 200 million transaction times 5k, it's not big money. They're not moving much. It's small money. 2k, 25, 15. Add it together. It's in, I'm sure this is just a rough estimate of what they were telling us that they did. It will be more. And this 5 billion could cut across these four small guys. So you're asking me if these four small guys did 20 billion, how? Anyway, but to my question now, creating a marketing strategy or communication strategy, will depend on key things I mentioned before: who you are, how you want to go about it, so you don't break the bank. Who are you serving, or who? So remember, it will be different if you are a company or you're an individual. So for me, I tell people, I say, you don't know everything, and I learn every day. Some people feel like, oh, I've gotten to the peak, I know it. What you know is irrelevant by next week or even tomorrow, self. Because one small new law policy app just wipes away that app and you're starting afresh. So I just ask my smallies when I get to the office. I say, Alpha, what's happening? What's new? What can I learn? Sir, Madam Linda, this is the new one. This is the new way they are doing things. And they get it done. So I tell people, ask questions, learn. And the one you cannot do, look for somebody that will help you do it. You can't do it all by yourself. So you see CEOs, I want to be the one in charge of my business, in charge of my social media page. Some of those people you see have people behind schedule, like 5, managing it very well, and they are looking good. So people think it's Tony Eluelu that is posting. I hear you. As if he needs to his phone calls. Very funny. His strategy team are thinking, how do we make our boss look like the best, richest boss in Africa? Did you see that last picture where he posted on the plane, the private jet with his children? Simply well dressed. We now started to deliberate something that is now our problem. We now bought markets where there was no market. How is children simple hair, simple braids? We now started insulting people that they are own, that did not offend us. All of you that be wearing rich, significant billion hair on Instagram, you don't have shishi. Did they offend you? Why are you angry? So the strategy people are doing good job. How do we make this man look good? Tony is coming out on the Monday morning for meeting. There was the one they did for Access Bank MD, where he was coming in looking surprised. My mother says, surprise, Bao. Where was the cameraman? How did he edit this thing so fine? We must be all acting. But seriously, it's called strategy. Boss, your birthday is coming. How do we use your birthday to sign? We know you. If you even see his face, you see that he was struggling. He said, guy, we have to arrange you. Whether you smile or you don't smile, we have to put you out there. And it's a plan. So come up with your plan. It has to be simple. You don't have to be Tony. You don't have the money to pay 5 social media people every month, but you can start simple. As she said, you can schedule it. We can say, okay, so for me, I say, what do people want to do? As she said, you have to either entertain. I don't see myself as an entertainer. I cannot wear crazy clothes and be, I'm not sure that's my calling. Okay, you have to educate. That's fantastic. So for me, I'm saying, okay, let me play in this education space, as that's where I think I have small edge. I don't know it all, but I can teach you around business. I can teach you around movies. I can teach you around books to read. Let me just be on my lane. This lane looks okay for me. You also have to play in the space of inspire, motivate. So I'm playing in that space. I hope I will blow, because it looks like we in that space, we are not blowing. It's only people in entertainment space that are blowing. And a few days ago, I went to one of my clients. The client said, Linda, it looks like we'll go and buy ring lights. I said, sir, I already have ring lights, but I'm still not blowing. My content have not blown. But I just know that I'm not going into entertainment. It's not my calling. So I will just be going slowly. So simple. What will you post on Monday? What will you put on Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday? You can start simple. Just do 2 times a week. Then you grow 3. Then you grow 4. then you go five. The problem is when you don't have a plan, you don't know what to do. So if you have a simple plan, what you're going to post on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, and which means you have to create content. So remember, I said ring light. If you have not finished eating, you don't have time. I don't know when you want to buy ring light and start. So choose your battle wisely. On this, I hope I've been able to help some people a little just know what to do when they can.
Thank you so much. Thank you very, very much. I feel like we should continue this session for another 1 hour. So, so one last question with for Amma. So I think that so I want to just confirm. So it's about personal brand and business brand. There's a difference between your personal brand and your business brand. So how can you align your personal brand to your business brand, or how can your personal brand help drive growth for your business brand for your business?
Such a good question. And there are several ways to go about this. Um, so we talked earlier about products that can be competitors or can be substitutes. The easiest substitute is toothbrush and toothpaste. Those are substitute products. So your personal brand can be a substitute. Sorry, I beg your pardon, not substitute, compliments, please. We talked about substitutes and compliments. I beg your pardon. So toothbrush and toothpaste, those are complement products. You buy toothpaste with toothbrush, you buy toothbrush with toothpaste. Hopefully nobody's using their finger to brush their teeth with toothpaste, right? Okay. So your personal brand can be a complement to your corporate brand. The easiest example is the Kardashians. Everybody knows that every time they step out, they are wearing either their clothes or their makeup or their skincare or when they were selling perfumes. That was the compliments. That's one side. The second side of it is when you draw complete parallels. You don't want one connected to the other. Um, However, we are living in interesting times. So the sustainability of separating one from the other may be difficult. There are some people that don't like to put things together. I'm very big on compartmentalization personally, but I am learning that that may not be the best way, because right now it's really about authenticity and sharing who you are, right, with people. Personally, good example now, I have a personal line and I have a business line. So on my personal line, I put all kinds of random things on my WhatsApp status, you know. But on my business line, comfort, you see all my stuff all the time. I'm always putting statistics, other things that interest me, because that's really what is fun to me. Numbers. I like numbers. I like statistics. I like watching economic, trends and all of that good stuff. So to build the two of them, this is what I will advise. If you are not ready to jump into your personal brand, building it consistently beside your business brand, focus on what is priority to you. Are you trying to build a business or are you trying to be an influencer? Based on that, you choose one, right? And when you have that one situated, when you're clear on what that your one thing is, you can now decide to choose whether you're going to put them together, or if you're even confident. To be very honest with you, it's really, for a long time, I've not really been comfortable, putting myself out there and sharing things for my personal life, because I'm just that kind of person. I believe in boundaries, So I'm now telling myself that, okay, intentionally, I have to put myself out there. There's a speaking engagement I did sometime last time. They were like, "Your Instagram is dead." I said, "Yes, I've not been on Instagram for 3 years." Because for me, there really isn't any value, and I haven't posted anything seriously on LinkedIn in the past almost 6 months, because I was really focused on, my own business growth was really in person and engaging people one-on-one. I didn't really need that social media. But now I recognize that I need to intentionally put myself out there, right? So with regards to building your business brand and your professional brand, I will advise, find the one that is most important and check within yourself if you are ready to commit, because to build anything, there must be consistency. All the tools that we have shared with you today can be used for either your personal brand or your business brand. But for the one that you choose, make sure it is priority. Make sure it's the one that will bring you the most conversion quickly. and quite frankly, the one that you are most passionate about. Because passion is not everything. In fact, the structure that keeps things going on consistently, but passion is the best way to begin anything. So check yourself, identify if you are actually ready, right? And then choose the one that works for you. And whoever you had asked that question, I wish you good success, whichever decision that you take.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Amma. Thank you so much, Linda. I think we have to end it right here, because if we don't, okay, we'll continue till the end of the day. We have over 14 questions right here, but we'll try our possible best to reach out to as many people that we can via email to answer some of the questions. I think about 18 to answer some of the questions, and then so that I don't think we can take
I'm so
all.
sorry to butt in as you're speaking. I'm so sorry that to butt
No,
in as
that's
you're
fine.
speaking. You can send as many of the questions as you want to me, and I'll send you responses, and you can send to them. I don't mind.
Okay.
But they
Okay.
have till the end of
Awesome. Thank you
January. They
so
have
much.
till January 31st. After January 31st, I'm not answering any question again. So between now and January 31st, they can send, and I will respond to their. Even if I send a voice note or if I write it, I will respond. I will send responses.
Okay. Okay. No problem. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. So we've come to the end of today's session. Thank you so much, Linda. Thank you so much, Amma. And then thank you very much, everyone, for joining us today. I must say that my notepad is filled. My notepad, my table, and that of my phone, it's filled. It's filled up. And whatever it is that we've learned, the most important thing is, I think, just like what Amma said, just our last slide, in the third slide before the last one. So she mentioned that you put it about execution. Execution is very, very important. It's not about all about learning or attending sessions every time, every now and then. You have to constantly put in plans that would help you execute all that you've learned. And definitely, as Amma said, she would provide answers to all the pending questions. I would share them with her, and then we will be having this session again next month, and I hope to see you all again. So thank you very much, everyone. Please enjoy the rest of your day. Thank
Thank you.
you.
I'll answer the questions by voice notes if you want to, so no problem.
Yes, yes, I would send them to both of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Nice to
you.
meet
Thank
Thank
you.
you
you,
for
Amma.
Bye,
having
everyone.
us. Same here, Linda. Thank
Thank
you. Bye,
you.
guys. Bye.
Bye.